the best of Jeremiah Wright.
Give an extraordinary welcome to my pastor, Dr. Jeremiah Wright, Jr., Trinity United Church of Christ. Where's he at? There he is. That's him. That's him right there.
This is on the website today. Well, let me just inform our audience, and I want you to respond if you can. It says commitment to God. By the way, I'm with you, and I hope you'll pray for me, Reverend. Commitment to the black community. Commitment to the black family. Adherence to the black work ethic. It goes on, pledge, acquired skills available to the black community. Strengthening and supporting black institutions. Pledging allegiance to all black leadership who have embraced the black value system. Personal commitment to the embracement of the black value system. Now, Reverend, if every time we said black, if it was a church, and those words were white, wouldn't we call that church racist?
No, we would call it Christianity. We've been saying that since there was a white Christianity. We've been saying that ever since white Christians took part in the slave trade. We've been saying that ever since they had churches in slave castles. We don't have to say the word white. We just have to live in white America, United States of white America.
There is a man here who can take this country in a new direction.
On Christmas, Reverend Jeremiah Wright tried to compare Obama's upbringing to Jesus at the hands of the Romans.
Barack knows what it means to be a black man living in a country and a culture that is controlled by rich white people. Hillary can never know that. Hillary ain't never been called a nigger. Hillary is married to Bill, and Bill have been good to us. No, he ain't. Bill did us just like he did Monica Lewinsky. He was riding dirty.
He's a friend and a great leader.
Critics say he's a racist, pointing to his trip to Libya in the 80s to visit Muammar Gaddafi and his fiery sermons, such as the time he called America the U.S. of KKKA, or when he suggested days after 9/11 that the attacks were payback for what he calls racist U.S. foreign policy.
We bombed Hiroshima, we bombed Nagasaki, and we nuked far more than the thousands in New York and the Pentagon, and we never batted an eye. We have supported state terrorism against the Palestinians and black South Africans, and now we are indignant because the stuff we have done overseas is now brought right back into our own front yards. America's chickens are coming home to roost. The government lied about inventing the HIV virus as a means of genocide against people of color. Governments lie. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a three-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America? No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America that's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme. Last year's conference in Africa on racism, which the United States would not participate in because somebody dared to point out the racism which still supports both here and in Israel. I said that dirty word again. Every time you say Israel, Negroes get awfully quiet on you because they scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. You don't see the connection between 91101 and the Israeli-Palestinian? Something wrong. You want to borrow my glasses?
When you attended, did you donate frequently?
Yes.
Okay. Were you and Michelle married there, and did Reverend Wright preside?
Yes.
Were you two daughters baptized there, and did Reverend Wright preside over the baptisms?
That is correct, Major.
Very good. I wanted to talk to you about your statement released this afternoon, because earlier today when I contacted your campaign and I asked them if there was any way the campaign felt the need to add further context, add further distance between yourself and the statements of Reverend Wright, the one-word answer I received was no. Then late this afternoon, you have a statement that says, I vehemently disagree, strongly condemn. I'm trying to understand the evolution between this morning and this afternoon, and I'd like to know specifically, Senator, what you vehemently disagree with and what you strongly condemn.
Well, Major, I got to confess that, as you know, I was voting in the Senate all day yesterday, so I wasn't following this story as carefully as I could have been. And then I flew back to Chicago. When I saw these statements, many of which I had heard for the first time, then I thought it was important to make a very clear and unequivocal statement. None of these statements were ones that I had heard myself personally in the pews.
So which side is Obama really on?
We're joined now by the author of Stupid Black Man, and he's the Los Angeles-based radio talk show host, Larry Elder, who joins us now from Los Angeles. Larry, good to see you this morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Barack Obama disavows his comments. He condemns them. He says he's not familiar with them. He never heard them personally from the pews. Do you buy that?
No, I don't. It's not going to work. In my book, Stupid Black Man, which just came out, I wrote about this church and this pastor months ago. And this is a man that Barack Obama has referred to as his spiritual advisor. The term, The Audacity of Hope, the title of his book, he got from one of Jeremiah Wright's sermons. Jeremiah Wright married him and Michelle. He baptized their children. Barack Obama consulted with Jeremiah Wright before he decided to run for presidency. And when Barack Obama decided to announce in Springfield, Illinois, he initially was going to have Jeremiah Wright speak there, but disinvited him. And Jeremiah Wright later on said he did so because he was afraid his Jewish support would dry up. How can Barack Obama disinvite him because of that and now claim he had no idea that Jeremiah Wright made all these incendiary comments? So it doesn't work.
You think, obviously, that the senator, in your view, is not telling the truth?
I don't think he's telling the truth. How can you not know that your pastor said that 9/11 was retribution because of America's racist past? How can you not know that your pastor basically said we should not have bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end World War II sooner? How can your pastor say that AIDS was something the government did and the government put drugs in our community and you don't know about it? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. When you run for office, the first thing you do is you ask yourself, is there anything I've said or any associations I have that might cause me problems?
Obama's been a member of this church for 2 decades. He was married there. His children were baptized there. Does it say anything about him that he's a member of this church and he is a member of Reverend Wright's flock?
Of course it says something about him, and I think this goes back to what Bill was just saying. He joined this church really to solidify his credentials as authentically black and authentically a part of that South Side Chicago community, because it's the largest church there, and Reverend Wright is well known not only in Chicago but nationally. And he's known for making these outlandish comments, and he falls into a tradition of black ministers who's, they say it's social gospel or whatever, but really what it comes down to is an expression of black nationalism and trying to affirm black folks and say, you know what, racism in this country is terrible and it's a burden to be black in America and all that. But they go beyond the pale at some point then and start off with this whole victimization, blaming people, damning the United States. And it goes to the point then where I think it becomes sort of, it picks up and leads to what Michelle Obama said about only for the first time is she, this Ivy League educated, prominent American lawyer, proud to be an American because you're having support for her husband. I think that's wackiness, but yet that's the kind of thing that spirals out of this. And I think it's very key here that unlike the notion that Barack Obama wants to advance that he didn't or wasn't aware of it, I find that unbelievable, or that this is a crazy uncle speaking out. This is a man who he chose to be associated with. It's not a family member. He chose to be associated with Reverend Wright and saw advantage in it, and that's why he exploited it up to a point when he realized, especially when he was announcing, that he couldn't have Wright by his side for the announcement in Springfield. And now seeks to somehow distance himself, but it speaks to his character and it speaks to the judgment, which is the basis on which Barack Obama has been running his campaign. So I think it could be a big problem.
I want to follow up on this because, look, quite frankly, African Americans see a lot of issues differently than whites, and sometimes we don't understand. What do you think it says about Obama's character and his judgment?
Well, I think that what it says is that Barack Obama, who says he wants to be transracial, that he wants to be the crossover, I mean, he is the fruit of a generation. This is the closest black people have ever been to having a president of the United States of America. And suddenly you see, wait a second, he's playing games and corners here on the race question. He's not being straight ahead and saying, you know what, I stand astride racial polarization. He's saying, I play racial polarization at one moment to my advantage, Reverend Wright. Next moment, I will distance myself and disavow Reverend Wright when that's convenient too. That's why I say, for me, it just strikes, wait a second, I want to know you. I want to know what you think and who you are. And in this case, I realize I don't.